Peace in Yugoslavia. NATO officials say airstrikes could end within days. But is everyone on board? A look at Kosovo's rebels, their willingness to lay down their weapons of war and their aims of independence. And 10 years after the massacre in Tiananmen Square, a new movement in China. An exclusive interview with the spiritual leader of tens of millions of Chinese. From CNN in Washington, this is WorldView. I'm Judy Woodruff. Bernard Shaw is on assignment. For the 73rd day, NATO jets attacked targets in Yugoslavia, and Serbian artillery pounded Albanian territory again. Reminders that the deal to end the conflict is still a deal in word only. The Allies are waiting for Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic's next move. We begin with CNN White House correspondent John King.
The White House says the strikes on Yugoslavia could end as soon as Sunday, and that the first NATO peacekeepers might enter Kosovo by early next week, but only if Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic keeps his word and quickly withdraws his troops.
Our experience in the Balkans teaches us that true peace can only come when progress in discussions is followed by progress on the ground.
NATO generals will meet with Yugoslav military commanders Saturday to discuss a one-week withdrawal timetable. If the Serb retreat begins on schedule, the strikes will stop, and the Kosovo peacekeeping operation will begin.
Peacekeepers can move in before all of them are out, yeah.
Mr. Clinton spoke with Finnish President Martti Ahtisaari to thank him for pushing Belgrade to accept the peace plan. And he sent Russian President Boris Yeltsin a note praising Moscow's role in the diplomatic breakthrough. But there's still no agreement with Russia on a peacekeeping command structure, and NATO won't wait for a deal before sending troops into Kosovo.
On one hand, Russian participation remains an open question. On the other hand, KFOR stands ready to move in with a matter of days.
Caution remained the White House watchword, but there was also a sense of vindication.
This is a goal that has been worth fighting for over the last weeks.
Mr. Clinton looked ahead to rebuilding Kosovo.
There is an enormous opportunity to be seized here, a chance to shift our focus from defeating something evil to building something good.
But the Allies are making clear they will rebuild Kosovo only and try to isolate Mr. Milosevic as he tries to rebuild a nation rocked by 10 weeks of NATO strikes. When the 800,000 Kosovo refugees might begin heading home is an open question. It's also unclear just how long the peacekeepers will remain in Kosovo. Some U.S. officials privately predict the NATO deployment will be necessary as long as Mr. Milosevic remains in power. And no one here sees him losing his grip on Serbia anytime soon. John King, CNN, the White House.
Now to Russia, where there is a different point of view. Deep concern that the Kosovo peace plan will put Russian peacekeeping troops under the command of an old foe, NATO. That part of the story from our Moscow bureau chief, Jill Doherty.
Saturday, Russia will send its military representatives to a meeting on the Yugoslav-Macedonian border. There, military specialists from NATO and Yugoslavia will begin hammering out details of a Serbian troop withdrawal from Kosovo and the return of refugees. The Russians will be there as mediators, a spokesman said. That may sound vague, but so far, so is the role Russian peacekeepers will play in Kosovo.
There will be a lot of proposals to solve this very complicated problem. The Russian military is working around the clock to hammer out options acceptable both for Russia, the UN Security Council, and Yugoslavia.
Friday, Russia's special envoy Viktor Chernomyrdin, visiting a village near Moscow, said Russia could contribute up to 10,000 peacekeepers to the Kosovo operation.
We're talking about a force of 5,000 to 10,000 servicemen. But we should understand that all this will be determined by the UN Security Council. It, too, will determine the time limits for the international presence. I think it'll last for about a year, and the cost will be considerable.
But some in the Russian military are skeptical of the mission and still suspicious of NATO. General Leonid Ivashov of the Defense Ministry was quoted as saying he still doesn't rule out the possibility that NATO will attack Yugoslav forces as they withdraw from Kosovo. President Boris Yeltsin, however, says he's pleased with the work of his envoy Viktor Chernomyrdin, that now there's no reason for any more NATO attacks on Yugoslavia. It's another story in the Russian parliament, which summoned government officials to a closed-door hearing.
Maybe 1% is supporting Mr. Chernomyrdiin. We'll see now. But I'm absolutely sure. I have been talking with the people from his own fraction. They are ashamed of him.
Chernomyrdiin, defending himself, says there were only two paths Russia could have taken: stopping the war by political means or fighting, putting on a trench coat and going forward. Russia was the only one trying for a political settlement, he said, and if we achieve an end to the bombing, that will be success. Jill Doherty, CNN, Moscow.
The Kosovo Liberation Army is the only armed force to battle Yugoslav forces on the ground in Kosovo. Does the peace deal mean an end to its war and its goal of independence? CNN's David Ensor reports.
U.S. and NATO officials say once the Serb forces are out of Kosovo, the Kosovo Liberation Army must demilitarize. That means give up any heavy weapons, take off uniforms. It does not mean disarm entirely.
In America, for example, most of the armament that the KLA has is used to hound down raccoons and deer. So how can you ask to give a weapon that is usually held home just for hunting?
Kosovars will still have some arms, and NATO's job of keeping peace in Kosovo will also be made more difficult by the anger of many Kosovars.
I think people don't realize how radicalizing this expulsion, the rapidity with which it happened and the brutality with which it happened, radicalized the whole population and especially the younger generation.
And the Kosovars, and especially the KLA, are not getting, under the new peace plan, what they were fighting for.
We believe that we deserve independence. With the suffering that our people has gone through, we do not see how we can live with the Serbs in the same state.
What worries many Kosovars most about the new peace plan is that it assigns to the UN Security Council the job of deciding on Kosovo's interim government. They worry about the Russians using their veto to prevent strong Kosovo's self-rule. Lawyer Paul Williams represents them in Washington.
The Russians and the Chinese will use their veto to ensure that there is an alphabet soup of organizations running Kosovo. This alphabet soup will be very ineffectual and will provide an opportunity for the Serbian regime to continue, in a sense, their unsettling of the population of Kosovo.
When the refugees return to Kosovo, NATO troops will find themselves keeping the peace and protecting the Serb minority in an angry province, scarred by murder, rape, and expulsion. It will not be easy. David Ensor, CNN, Washington.
The return of refugees to Kosovo is a key condition of the peace agreement, but as CNN's Jeff Flock reports, the journey home will be difficult.
Though peace is far from sure, plans to deal with the 850,000 Kosovar refugees eager to retrace their steps home are already being made.
Are you worried about them beginning to spill over the border before you are ready?
Well, that's obviously one of the scenarios, but I mean, there's no way we're going to be able to prevent them to go back if they want to go back.
According to their plan, the UNHCR will immediately deploy to these 7 cities inside Kosovo. Priority 1, dealing with the refugees holed up there now.
All those people who have left their homes, who have been in hiding for days, for weeks, for months, I mean, those people are in a very, very precarious position.
Then they'll try to get ready for the possible onslaught from refugees waiting nearby. 440,000 in Albania, almost 250,000 in Macedonia, another 90,000 elsewhere in the Balkans. It will be a longer trip for the more than 75,000 already scattered worldwide. Most are in Germany, Turkey, and Norway.
In Kosovo, there are houses to rebuild, landmines to clear, infrastructure to repair. But most of the refugees here in the camps don't care much about that. Their one priority for returning is protection from the Serb forces.
We agree that with a NATO presence we will be safe, he says. Without NATO, I will absolutely not go. The prime minister of the country with the most refugees thinks the process will be slow.
As long as Milosevic is there in power playing games, their safe return to their homes and their land will be a very difficult process.
Difficult, surely, but how long will it take? The UNHCR says if peace holds now, it could spare the Kosovar refugees a miserable winter in the camps.
You possibly can beat the winter now.
Absolutely. We've got time on our side, and that's very good.
Time on their side, at least for now. I'm Jeff Flock, CNN in Tirana, Albania.
As things stand, Slobodan Milosevic will remain Yugoslav president under the Kosovo peace plan, a head of state and an indicted war criminal. CNN's Andrea Koppel has more on his prospects after the war.
Indicted war criminal Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic may have lost the war, but he's still in power.
We believe that he remains in firm control.
But NATO isn't counting on Milosevic to be a guarantor of peace in Kosovo, the way he was in 1995 at the Dayton Accords, once all Serb forces have been withdrawn from Kosovo and an international peacekeeping force goes in. Administration officials say the Yugoslav president's relevance will be significantly diminished.
By any rational calculation, Milosevic comes out of this much weaker.
The message NATO wants to send Milosevic, your days are numbered. And to the people of Serbia,
you have a dictator in charge, an indicted war criminal as your leader. And you cannot expect properly to be part of the reconstruction of the Balkans while that remains so.
NATO's plans to rebuild the Balkans explicitly exclude a Serbia with Milosevic in charge. But those who've studied Milosevic suggest NATO's strategy of isolating him could ultimately play to his strength.
I think that down the road, 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to see people in Serbia again rising up against Milosevic and he using some other stoked up violence to keep himself in power.
And while Milosevic may be calculating he can stay in power by playing to the fears and anger of the Serb people, the U.S. and its NATO allies believe that could be a miscalculation. They say this time Milosevic is an indicted war criminal whose personal assets are frozen, his country in ruins. Andrea Koppel, CNN, at the State Department.
This is the 10th anniversary of Beijing's Tiananmen Square massacre. In 1989, Chinese troops attacked pro-democracy demonstrators in the city's main square, ending 7 weeks of student-led protests. The number of people killed is still unknown. On Friday, Chinese leaders ordered extra security to prevent any uprisings or public mourning on the anniversary. But there were small acts of defiance. Police arrested at least 2 protesters. Just weeks ago, more than 10,000 Chinese staged the largest protest in Beijing since the democracy movement, catching the government off guard. CNN's Garrick Utley spoke to the group's leader, now living in the United States, after coming under pressure from Chinese authorities.
They protested quietly in Beijing in April, demanding that their rights be recognized. And in their silence, they shook China's leaders, these 10,000 followers of Falun Gong. The Chinese government acknowledges that there are 60 to 70 million of them in the country, but their leader was not there. Li Hongzhi is living in New York City, where he practices what he has been preaching since the early 1990s, a mind-body spiritual exercise program with roots in Buddhism.
There are some who say that you are one of the most powerful and influential figures in China today, even though you're living here in New York City.
I don't think of myself as a powerful person. I only want to tell people to do good things and be good human beings.
In China, the Falun Gong has more followers than the Communist Party has members. Its growing popularity worries China's leaders.
Are you a threat to the communist rulers there?
I don't think I am a threat. What I'm doing is beneficial to society. It is they who regard us as a threat.
Are any of your practitioners being put under pressure by the government in China?
I think at present they are faced with great pressure. Several departments of the government have issued official documents ordering people in the army and party members to stop practicing Falun Gong. In some regions, the armed police try to drive away practitioners who come to practice.
What do you tell them, your practitioners, to do? What should they do?
I have always told them to restrain themselves and endure. Frankly speaking, I have no interest in getting involved in politics. I would not like to see my students shed blood, and I would not like to see them run into any trouble.
Do you think there will be trouble?
It's difficult to say.
In China, as in any society, there is a constant struggle for the heart and mind and soul of the people. Li Hongzhi and his teachings have won the belief of tens of millions of Chinese. The next move, if there is one, is up to the Chinese government. Garrett Utley, CNN, New York.
Still to come on WorldView, a man of the world prepares to visit his homeland.
Kids come first. They're always on your mind. They're always first and foremost there. I'm Cynthia Hodges. I work at Ford Motor Company. I'm an engineer, and I'm also a mom.
We're the people who buy and use WinStar. We know what it's like to have kids, and that helped us design this car. It's full of ideas that moms will love.
I'm able to open the doors, and they're not blinded by a dome light.
Because you never want to wake a sleeping baby.
That allows me to listen to the music I like, and my kids can listen to what they like in the back.
My mom's favorite type of music is old stuff.
This sensor is really smart. The beeps get faster as you're about to back into something. Beep, 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 beep.
Parents always want the best for their children. The safety ratings. Safety was the utmost importance, and the 5-star rating was a big deal.
I designed it for my neighbors. I designed it for my playgroup. I designed it for what's now become a part of my life.
Hey, my mom built that car.
Better ideas, driven by you.
Is this not the face of possibility, of objectivity, of integrity? There is another world far from the numbers that you know, where the future of your business lies just beyond your vision, where opportunity dances at the edge of your understanding. All of this can I see. What can you see?
The CPA. You see numbers, we see opportunities.
Everyone has dreams, but the dreams of our children shape the world of tomorrow. That's why at Oldie, we believe you should plan and invest early for your children's education. With our rare combination of investment advice and commission savings, Oldie can help you invest for your children's education while you encourage their dreams for the future. For your children's education and your peace of mind, call Oldie, America's full-service discount broker.
At American Century, we've got some pretty impressive mutual funds to choose from, like our Ultra Fund or our Select Fund. What about Income and Growth and our Ginnie Mae Fund? Hey, don't forget our Short-Term Government Fund and our Equity Growth Fund. Then there's our Limited Term Tax-Free Fund. And of course, there's our International Growth Fund. That's a lot of great-looking funds, not to mention a lot of great-looking guys.
Call 1-888-ACI-FUNDS.
Next week, Pope John Paul II is going home to Poland. CNN's Jim Bitterman reports on what is expected to be a nostalgic journey.
On the eve of one of the most rigorous trips of his pontificate, Pope John Paul II was leading his flock in a 3-hour ceremony through the streets of Rome. "We don't worry," some faithful said, "God will keep him strong." The Pope will need strength on a trip that will take him to 20 cities in 12 days, an emotional, perhaps a final visit to his homeland. The demanding Polish trip is more than just a sentimental journey. The Pope, according to church officials, believes in an opportunity to revitalize Catholicism in a country where, since the fall of communism, it has been of declining importance. In the bad old days of communistic rule, the Polish church was a small hope for freedom. Papal visit, the occasion to rally the opposition. But when freedom came to Poland, the role of the church changed.
It's totally different from, I imagine, the Pope hoped it would be after the fall of communism. You know, the power and the influence of the church in Poland has gone down a lot. And so the Pope is always the Pope, of course, but it's not what it used to be.
Indeed, while he could never be less than a hero in his homeland for the way he challenged communism, in recent trips home, the Pope's warnings to his compatriots about the new dangers of materialism and capitalism have not always been so well received, nor have the Pope's concerns about the way the church is increasingly disappearing from Polish life.
the pressures on to make Poland more of a secular country like other Western European countries, while he would keep them a good old Polish Catholic country.
Still, Vatican officials say the Pope will point to problems as he sees them.
During the communist period, he stressed freedom and the rights of the individual. When he went back after communism, and I'm sure this will be repeated this time, he stresses the responsibilities of the individual.
But whether his message goes down well or not on this his 8th trip back home as Pope, few of his countrymen can see him returning now without remembering his first papal trip almost exactly 20 years ago, when John Paul brought a message that triggered events that all the forces of communism could not stop. Jim Bitterman, CNN, Rome.
Hey!
What are you doing up here?
So, you've been using 10-10-3-2-1?
What? Oh, I keep forgetting about that.
Well, you should try to remember. You get 50% off calls over 10 minutes, every day, anytime.
Huh. Oh, I like that. But there's got to be a monthly fee, right?
Not with 10-10-3-2-1. Dial it, and you'll see the savings on your phone bill.
All right, I'll give it a try.
Cool. Hey, get away from my car!
Just dial 10-10-3-2-1.
Peter Lynch from Fidelity.
Don Rickles, fishing? Are you thinking about retiring?
What? I touch a rod and reel and you're having a farewell banquet.
It's never too early to plan.
You know, I saved a lot, but I don't want to outlive it.
You need to plan your retirement income even before you've retired.
Tell that guy, too. His bait looks fresher than him.
If you're about to retire or already have, call Fidelity for your free retirement income planning guide.
When I do retire, forget fishing. Vulcanized rubber makes me itch.
Politicians in Washington are raiding the Social Security Trust Fund. And Steve Forbes wants to stop them. That way we can preserve Social Security for this generation and for generations to come. Vote Steve Forbes for president.
The world, they take people where they need to go. But wherever the road ends, there's a good chance it started with Caterpillar equipment.
We who fight for human rights
are hungry for love.
This is not just another emergency.
Money is important individually and as a nation, but it's not as important as integrity and high moral standards.
I think money does matter, but it shouldn't rule your life. It's just one component. I think spirituality, I think aesthetics, I think family. I would put these things before money.
Money's not going to make you happy. It helps, but it gives you a lot of problems as well. I noticed once I made it to the NFL, this gave me a lot of problems with people coming out the woodworks and asking for a lot of money and things like that, and it just causes so much problems.
Well, I think money is important if you don't have it, and that's probably true. Anything that's important is because you don't have it. If you've got good health, then health is not important. If you've got money, money is not important.
No one on their deathbed wishes they spent more time at the office or watching television. And they really don't talk that much about money. They talk about relationships, or the lack of them. And people in their heart of hearts, they know what truly is important.
This Voices of the Millennium is brought to you by Sir Speedy,
For outstanding printing, copying, and digital services, call Sir Speedy.
It's time for the world to go to work. A brochure is emailed to Sir Speedy for printing, a manual for electronic copying, a report for output. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, people down the street, across the country, and around the world use the internet to do business with the Sir Speedy Global Digital Network. If hundreds of thousands of businesses trust Sir Speedy, chances are we can handle your documents. Call Sir Speedy, the Printing, Copying Digital Network.
When WorldView returns, relief and disillusionment in Belgrade.
Mom, can I watch TV?
No, Billy, do your homework.
It's too dark. Why can't we use electricity like the other kids?
Billy, you know we're trying to cut costs.
We've got plenty of candles down in the basement, son.
Billy?
It wasn't me.
Grandma.
I'm okay. I just walk it off.
How do you plan on saving money for the future? Conseco's wide range of financial solutions can help. Conseco, step up.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
On CNN's Moneyline News Hour, CBS, its latest deals and its tight grip on the radio business. Tonight, 6:30 Eastern on CNN.
Ah, geek heaven, let's go. Ethernet cards, cables, and ports, and modems. It's the UNIVAC! Do you recognize this logo?
Actually, I do, yeah. The ETV is awesome.
What are some of your favorite programs?
Screensavers is really cool.
Microprocessors, system controllers, AV cards. I've died and gone to heaven.
Want terrific heating and air conditioning service you can count on? Call the Ream team. These floor protectors go over our shoes before we enter your home. Uniforms and photo IDs for your peace of mind. And we clean up before leaving. Call us. We'll be there on time. Call the Ream team.
In Greater Nashville, call Les Dossie Heating and Air at 615-353-9043.
We will impress you when you make that call to the Ream team.
Helping children beyond blaming on Larry King Live tonight.
Finally, a look at how the people of Belgrade are reacting to the Kosovo peace plan. CNN's Walter Rogers is there.
2 weeks ago, this young Belgrade couple had no electricity, no water. They were struggling with a 9-month-old baby amid NATO bombing. But now, with the end of the war in sight,
I'm very happy today because I think this horrible war is over now, and I think that my son will have future.
Still, they are stockpiling water and food, and on the balcony, just in case,
this was for cooking.
Probe a little deeper below the surface, however, and there's still great bitterness. They are not happy with President Milosevic, but NATO is a worse villain to them. They believe they have lost Kosovo, a kind of national religious patrimony, perhaps forever. An alien military force, 50,000 soldiers, is about to occupy that part of their country.
It's probably the greatest tragedy in Europe for the last 50 years. And that we gave Kosovo to Albanians, to NATO, to whatever. I just feel very bitter about that.
Maria has started smoking again. 73 nights of air raid sirens, sonic booms, and bombs. Serbs have lost more than Kosovo. More's been destroyed than bridges and armies.
I don't believe in your president. I don't believe in my president. I don't believe in people anymore. I believe only in my husband, in my son, and in my family. Okay? This is our friends.
A photo album attests to better times. Ivan and Maria both lost their jobs. Like most young Yugoslavs, they subsist on snapshots and memories.
Our honeymoon.
One picture they won't have this year, summer vacation. There is no money. After more than 8 years of war in the Balkans, they call themselves the lost generation.
My personal plans and our family plans are to move somewhere, maybe only for the winter or maybe forever.
Maria and Ivan are 27 and 31. They say they no longer have a country. Walter Rogers, CNN Belgrade.
Thank you for joining us on WorldView. I'm Judy Woodruff, the Moneyline News Hour with Lou Dobbs next.
This is the Moneyline News Hour with Lou Dobbs. Sitting in tonight, Jack Cafferty.
Tonight on the Moneyline News Hour.